While the Conservative Party may be having its problems over Brexit, so too is the Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn's shadow cabinet is meeting again on Tuesday, with its members still divided over exactly how strongly to support a second referendum or whether to support one at all. Meanwhile, 26 Labour MPs have signed a letter urging their leader not to back a new referendum and instead to work to find a deal so that we can leave the EU on October the 31st. One of those who signed the letter was Aberavon MP Stephen Kinnock, who joins me now from our Westminster studio. Stephen Kinnock, why did you sign the letter?
Well, some time ago, back before the Euro elections, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, tabled the withdrawal agreement bill. That withdrawal agreement bill included a number of major concessions to Labour's position, a bill on workers' rights, environmental standards, customs arrangements, and even a commitment to have a debate and a binding vote on a second referendum at the committee stage. I believe, and my colleagues who signed that letter believe, that that withdrawal agreement bill is a lifeline, and Labour should grasp it with both hands, because otherwise we are going to crash out of the European Union on the 31st of October. And in my opinion, that would be disastrous for the economy. I think no deal means no steal.
But the all of those are valid points, but that deal that you talked about is not on offer. It's dead, isn't it? People around Boris Johnson and Jeremy Hunt have spoken about it not being even remotely on the table anymore.
Well, Boris, of course, has said he's ready to leave on the 31st of October, deal or no deal, but he's also said he wants to leave with a deal. Let's be real about this. The withdrawal agreement bill is the only viable deal on the table. It's been agreed
But it's not on the table anymore.
Union.
The Prime Minister's had to resign over the fact that she couldn't get it through.
It doesn't mean that her successor couldn't retable it, though. What else is he going to do? Is he seriously thinking he's going to go to Brussels and magic up some new deal when at the moment the European Union doesn't even have an interlocutor there because they're putting the new top jobs in place? So we need to have some pragmatic realism in all of this. That means that there's one option now that Labour should support, which is the withdrawal agreement bill. It's full of concessions to Labour's position. It means that we avoid the no-deal catastrophe. So whether you want to leave with a deal, or even if you want to have a second referendum, actually, the only way to get that is to vote the withdrawal agreement bill through at second reading.
Can I just? I mean, I suppose this is a side issue, really. Although it's important to understanding the debate. Do you find this personally a difficult position to be in? You had a what you might call a European career. You were a Remain campaigner, and yet now you're arguing for a form of Brexit because of circumstances. Do you find that a difficult position to be in?
Look, when I became an MP in 2015, I took a vow to myself and to my constituents, if you like, which is that my number one priority is to protect those steelworks in my constituency. That is the beating heart of our economy and of our community. As things stand, we're looking down the barrel of crashing out on the 31st of October. I regret that purists on each side, second referendum purists and the no-dealers, have actually made compromise a dirty word in British politics. I think we need to get back to being able to compromise. That means leaving the European Union with a deal which also protects the steelworks in my constituency.
What about the suggestion within, or more than a suggestion within your party, that your Deputy Leader Tom Watson said in an email to some MPs that Labour's underestimating the crisis that it politically will face if it doesn't back a second referendum? He's warning of catastrophic losses to Lib Dems and Greens. Does that concern you?
Well, if you look at the Euro elections, the Brexit Party won in 19 out of 22 Welsh electoral units. So I don't know if Tom's talking about Wales there, but if you look at the politics of this, I mean, I think we have to just put the country first now, which means compromise, which means leaving with a deal. But if you do want to talk about electoral calculations, the fact of the matter is that in Wales, by far our biggest threat is the Brexit Party. So I think the way to take the air out of the balloon of the Brexit Party is to leave the European Union. I think within months of that, you'd be putting Mr. Nigel Farage back in his box where he belongs.
Jeremy Corbyn, who is speaking more positively about a second referendum, although I realise there are lots of caveats there and people are concerned that it's not strongly enough, is apparently thinking of taking a similar approach to that taken by Harold Wilson in 1975, of standing to one side, letting shadow cabinet members argue on either side of a debate in a referendum. Would you be able to live with that situation?
I just feel that we're putting hypothesis over speculation there. I mean, how are we going to get to this referendum if there isn't a deal to vote on? I mean, you've got to have a question on the ballot paper about the deal. The only way to get a deal is to vote for the withdrawal agreement bill. Now, that does include a provision on the face of the bill to have a set-piece debate and a binding vote at committee stage about whether the whole deal should be put to a referendum.
Okay.
So what I think Jeremy should say to the new leader of the Conservative Party is bring back the withdrawal agreement bill and Labour MPs will vote for it.
Can I ask you one related question, which is that the former First Minister Cadwyn Jones has said that all of this is leading people in Wales to reconsider or consider for the first time the option of independence for Wales. Do you agree with him that that's a concern?
I mean, I don't really understand Plaid Cymru's position because they obviously are saying we should remain in the EU, but by far the biggest market for Wales is England. So how you can possibly argue for reversing the Brexit result as being your number one priority and then say you want to leave the United Kingdom, it is an utterly unsustainable position.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us tonight, Stephen Kinnock.